Hi everyone and welcome. Yes, Eliyahu will explain a bit about what we're doing here.
Okay, so we know that Saturday night, the time right after Shabbat, actually in the Shabbat itself, we have two main ways to connect to the light of the Creator on Shabbat. We have the prayers, the connections that we use with our mouths, and following each prayer, each connection, we have a meal that we do. So the way that we take all the energy, right? Because the energy of Shabbat, we're in such a high, we're in a very high place in the upper world. We need some way to manifest it into the time of the week. So the way that by which we do that, the way we manifest the prayers is through a certain connection we say in the evening connection, the Vihi Noam. And the way that we manifest the energy of the meals is through the fourth meal of Shabbat, which is actually after Shabbat. We know that also the origin of the fourth meal is from King David, who started out without actually having any lifespan. In the upper worlds, it was decreed that he would die as soon as he was born. And Adam, the first man, who we read about this Shabbat, gave 70 years of his life to King David, but King David did not know how long he was supposed to live. So he knew he was supposed to pass on Saturday night, but he didn't know which one. So every Saturday night he would celebrate and appreciate the fact that he has another week because he didn't pass away that Saturday night. So we awaken also that power of appreciation, also the energy of manifesting all of the energy of Shabbat. And the way we do this is through two methods that the Kabbalists would use. One of them is singing songs to awaken happiness. You know, as we spoke about, that happiness awakens the divine inspiration throughout the week. And the stories. And these two methods also open up the heart. We know that we plan everything in our head, and when we plan those things in our head, it comes, to a certain extent, it's planned, it's okay, but we want to make sure that we connect everything to the heart, that we open the heart to the week to be able to love and care throughout the week. So we're going to start by singing the first song.
המבדיל בין קודש לכל, חטאותינו ימחל זרים וחסדנו יעבד החול לכוכבים בלילה יום פנה כצל תומר אין עליי עלי תומר יום אשר עבר שומר אתה בוקר וגם לילה זכרת תבוא
mentioned, we share stories to connect the energy of the fourth meal. And one of the stories I was thinking about is about one of the greatest Kabbalists to ever live, very famous Kabbalist named Rabbi Zusha. And there was a certain time in the life of Rabbi Zusha where he already amassed a certain amount of students. The way that the story goes about how the way he would eat his breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it says that he would spend his time studying and dedicated to the spiritual work. And he would have one of his students, a specific student, that wanted to serve him, right? One of his ways to connect was to serve his teacher. And that student would prepare Rabbi Zusha's meals. But there was something specific and special about it, that Rabbi Zusha wouldn't just go to the student and get the meals. Rabbi Zusha would stay in the house of study. And every time it was the time for breakfast or lunch or dinner, he would just scream out to the heavens. He would scream out to the Creator. He would say, Creator of the world, Zusha is hungry, about himself, right? Zusha is hungry. And then the student would know, okay, now it's time to bring him breakfast, or now it's time to bring him lunch, or whatever. But he was really speaking to the Creator. And one day after this was going on for a long while already, the student said, why does Rabbi Zusha call out to the heavens every time he's hungry and say, you know, Master of the world, Creator of the world, please send me my food for this meal? Like, he knows that I'm the one that brings it, and like, if I don't bring it, nobody's going to bring it, right? So why is he saying, Creator of the world, I'm hungry? And the student decides, like, this makes no sense. I'm going to just not bring him his food one day, right? If he thinks that it comes from the Creator, and it's just a spiritual connection, he doesn't realize it's me, let's see what happens when I don't bring it. So the day comes and the student decides, I'm not bringing the food. In the morning, time for breakfast, Zusha's in the house of study, he's connecting, he's doing his spiritual work, teaching other students, whatever he needs to do. When it's time for breakfast, he calls out of the window, calls out to the Creator, Creator of the world, Zusha is hungry. The student says, I'm not sending him food today, right now. And no food comes. The student says, okay, you know, he called up the Creator, I didn't bring him food, he didn't get food. Comes time for lunch. Lunchtime, same deal, right? He's in the middle of his work, whatever, he realizes it's time to eat. Zusha calls out to the Creator, Creator of the world, Zusha is hungry, right? Expecting a meal. The student still doesn't bring it. He stays stubborn, he's not bringing it. Finally, comes time for dinner that day. Zusha didn't eat breakfast or lunch. Time for dinner. Zusha calls out to the Creator, Creator of the world, Zusha is hungry. And the student's like, I don't know what's happening. Like, he realizes I didn't bring him the food for breakfast and lunch. I'm not going to bring him for dinner. Why doesn't he just come to me and ask me? I'm the one that prepares the food. So the student wants to go talk to Rabbi Zusha about it. It doesn't make sense. He doesn't understand it. He goes to the house of study where Rabbi Zusha is, not bringing food, just to ask him what's going on. And somebody, right after the student enters, this man bursts into the house of study with a ton of food and says, Rabbi Zusha, I'm so sorry, I meant to come in the morning, but I got held up, and I meant to come in the afternoon, and I just couldn't, but I have all the food from the whole day, here it is for you, for Rabbi Zusha. And the student was shocked. And the idea, this is the lesson that I connect with from the story, is basically that nothing that exists in this world comes from anything physical. Everything that we experience as positive or even negative, which is really positive at the end of the day, it all comes from the Creator. And the more that we realize that, the more we can be the cause in our own life and we can connect to endless. But the more that we think that what I receive comes from something physical or another person, we will constantly be the effect and we will just be receiving from other people. If somebody gives me a compliment, somebody gives me this or that, I'm happy. If they don't give me something, I'm not happy. We're constantly the effect. The idea is to always want to be the cause and to realize if I'm connected to the Creator, I can be the cause and I can receive endlessly.
חזק ימלא משאלותינו, אמיץ
So the story that I was thinking about.
Michael Tzarfati, he just had his birthday too. So we all want to wish him happy birthday. You can write it in a comment, happy birthday to Michael Tzarfati.
So the Baal Shem Tov was walking with one of the students in the desert, and his student hasn't drinking for like quite a while. Like he was already very, very thirsty, and his teacher, the Baal Shem Tov, had it like water with him. And so it got to the point where he's so thirsty, they asked the Baal Shem Tov, please give me, can I please have some of your water? And the Baal Shem Tov like act like he didn't listen to him. And like they keep on walking, and it's like another hour, and he asks again, and he asks again, and the Baal Shem Tov like didn't even look at him, didn't even put attention to him. And then it gets to a point where he's like about to die from thirst. And the Baal Shem Tov told him, do you have the certainty, but like really feel it and like in your mind, that from the time of the creation, the Creator saw this exact moment and prepared a way for you to have water? Like, do you have the certainty that this moment, the Creator, from the time of the creation, is going to provide you water? And so he like take a moment, and he closed his eyes, and he was meditating, and like he really said, yes, I have the certainty. And in that moment, they saw like in the distance, they kept on walking, they saw in the distance a man bringing water. Like, and they asked him, and he got water and he was well. And then they asked him, like, why were you on the way? And he says, I don't know why, but today my master went crazy. And instead of going to the well, like right next to where we are, he told me to go all the way to this well. And then the Baal Shem Tov told him, if you didn't have at that moment the certainty that from the time of the creation, the Creator prepared this moment for you to get the water, then in the way it would have fallen break. So the message is to really have that certainty that the Creator from the time of creation already has a perfect plan, a perfect sequence.
Come
a blessed week, everyone. Shavua Tov. Thank you, Eliyahu, and Moshe, and Michael, and all of you who join us.
Thank
Have a
you for
blessed
joining.
week.
Shabbat tov.
Shabbat tov.
Shabbat tov.